you'll just watch and make sure
Gotcha.
everything gets muted.
Okay.
Okay, welcome everyone again. My name is Nancy Allen. You've been hearing from Phyllis Johnson. She's the immediate past chair of the National Consortium for Health Science Education. She helps us with our webinar delivery. I am Nancy Allen, although under the screen there it says Phyllis. I'm not sure why I'm Phyllis Jr. today, but we both have some rights with the Zoom meeting contract, so that may be why that's happened. Welcome. You are a record-breaking audience here. This is the largest webinar that we've ever had. So I'm currently seeing about 205 people registered. Somebody's not muted. So
on the computer?
Yeah.
Those keys.
Phyllis, are you able to find who that is?
Well, you need, if you're
We're
on
trying.
a setting, you probably need to exit out.
Everybody, if you could please
Then it's gonna
mute,
do an
if you could please
information.
mute your computer, we can hear conversations and it's kind of distracting. So we are glad you're joining us, but please be sure you're muted.
Well, I don't know when you're on, because your function's not.
Okay, we'll hope that that person got muted. We appreciate you being here. We know this is a very stressful time for everyone, and the consortium really wants to position ourselves as a helper to you as a classroom teacher. We're fresh off of a webinar meeting we had at 2 o'clock with health science state leaders from across the nation, and it's just our goal to do what we can to support you at the classroom level. Many of you have been thrown into this teaching online and overnight, and we just want to be supportive and be there for you. So I'll talk a little bit about the process and who's on with me today. With me today, we'll have 3 teachers, Karen Edwards, and you see her. She's doing a wave there now, and Rhonda, Evatt, and also Katrina Edwards. I'm sorry, Katrina Haynes. I just said Edwards. All right, so those 3 ladies are really where the rubber meets the road. They are in the classroom. Rhonda is a respiratory therapist, I believe, in her first life, and she's a classroom teacher at a technology center. And Karen is a certified athletic trainer in her first life, teaches in a high school setting. And Katrina is a registered nurse, and she has taught most recently in a brick and mortar, a regular health science classroom at a large high school. But she currently is teaching in a virtual setting. So she has some experiences there that will be very, very helpful for you. So what we'll do today is go through what has been created thus far, what has been shared with us from partners that they want to make available to you. And then at the end, we'll do chat questions, because when you have 216 people on a call, it's going to get fairly rambunctious, and so we're going to use our chat feature, and we'll be watching those questions and making sure that everybody is heard. So lots going on. Sorry, as people are trying to get on, I'm also getting messages. Just want to tell you a little bit about some events upcoming for the consortium, as well as some resources. If Phyllis can figure out who needs to be muted. If you're not muted, please look in the bottom right, let's see, bottom left corner. You should see a little microphone, and you just put your cursor over that and X out, and then you're to be heard from again.
Is it possible for us to record this?
Okay, these webinars are recorded. All of our webinars are recorded, and it was indicated on your registration form that all of our webinars are recorded and will be posted on our website at healthscienceconsortium.org. There's an events tab, and under the events tab, you'll see webinars, and currently there now are 8 webinars from the past. Phyllis, are you muted? Okay. So in the past, we have done like 8 webinars, and we always put them there. If the presenter allows us, we'll put the slides there as well. And so this one will be there as well, as in addition to the webinar we did at 2 o'clock with the health science teachers. So I'm sorry, with the Health Science State Leads. That's healthscienceconsortium.org. The tab says events, and then under events, you'll see another tab that says webinars, and that's where you'll see the posting. We do have the consortium Facebook page. So if you're not following us there, we push out a lot of information, a lot of resources through the National Health Science Consortium Facebook page. And also our teacher organization has a group, and it's free. You can go to, Katrina will tell you how to get there, but it's HSEA, and it's a Facebook group where they also post resources that are helpful down to the classroom level. You may be aware of the Health Science Curriculum Enhancements. That's a resource that's been around for a good while, for about 8 years. And these are activities, PowerPoints, lesson plans, assessment questions that are all tied to the National Health Science Standards. The last revision was about 2 years ago. It wasn't a major revision. So if you, anywhere between 2016 and 2018, there have not been major revisions. But since the National Health Science Standards were updated in May of 2019, we felt the need to update in a major way the Health Science Curriculum Enhancements. So those will be available. We have 2 wonderful developers working on those now, and those will be available and published in August of 2020. So if your state is a member of the National Health Science Consortium, then those will be $350, and will be available on our online store. So you go in, you make the purchase, and then it's a download to your computer. If your state is not a member of the Health Science Consortium, then the membership benefits do not apply, and they're $500. Currently, they're $300 and $450. And if you wanted those now, our policy is in place that you can purchase them. And in August, when the new edition is complete, then for an additional $50, you could get the highly revised new edition of the Health Science Curriculum Enhancements. This is not an infomercial for that. I just want you to know that what's coming, and what will be available. And then lastly, it doesn't seem real appropriate to mention this now in light of this complex problem that we're dealing with and all the uncertainties that roll out by the hour. But we are hopeful and crossing our fingers that in October, we'll be able to host the 2020 National Health Science Conference, which will be in Charleston, South Carolina. And we know that's a number one destination place to go. So we hope that you'll make plans to attend. We're always looking for presenters, as well as people to attend, as well as people to exhibit. And we're going to be kind of slow to bombard you with all the marketing of that event, just because we know what you're dealing with. But it is available on our website, and we'll push out another flyer hopefully in early April, when things perhaps have settled down a little bit. And we just know that this is a great opportunity. The pre-conference, anyone who registers for the pre-conference, we are including complimentary the Health Science Curriculum Enhancements. The morning will be devoted to the use of those, that instructional resource. And then the afternoon, we hope we'll be making visits over to the Medical University of South Carolina to some very unique telehealth center they have there, and they're very busy there now. But lots of great things go on at the Medical University of South Carolina. So we're looking forward to visiting with them. So with that being said, I'm going to now turn it over to my friends who are ready to share all that they've created for you. It's you now.
Okay.
Sharon Edwards. Okay.
Hey, Nancy. Thanks, everyone, for joining us today. I know that even though we are teaching from home, that our time is still very valuable. What I want to do today is just kind of share some of the best practices that I am coming across as I go through things. And I'm going to share my screen with you now. And, oh, that was Zoom when I got logged in today. So some of the best practices is this is what I did for my students, just so you have some background. I know Rhonda, Katrina, and I all teach different kind of sections, but my sections are 90 minutes a day, every day for my Health Science 1-2 class. And then my Health Science 3 clinical class is 3 hours every other day. They got this. My school was great. We all followed the same format. I think the best thing for our students right now is to really put the least amount of pressure on them. And we all did the same format. They know that they're all going to be due tentatively. We are going back April 1st. With this being such a very fluid situation right now, if that changes, then as a school, we'll go back and change as well. So you can see here are the assignments. I don't know if many of you are using Google Classroom or not. I personally love Google Classroom. So I'm going to show you this right here real quick. And then I'm going to pull up let me get some of that out of the way. Still moving stuff around. My Google Classroom, so you can see what it looks like for the students within that actual setting. So here's my Google Classroom, and it's got their upcoming. These were things that were already posted prior to us leaving. This is the first week that we are not in. As you can see right now, I've got, I put a topic called COVID-19 instruction, and that's where all of their information while we are gone is going to be out. This is my students. We've already had a Zoom meeting, and it's one thing that has just really helped out them having everything organized into Google Classroom and knowing that if they can't find something, it's not a big deal. They just email me. So this is one of the things that I found. I already use Google Classroom. Like I said, it's a little different because we're all going online and flipped with our classrooms. Mine was flipped already. My students are very comfortable using Google Classroom, turning assignments in through there, and some of the other medium that you'll see me showing you along with the others. So the Drive folder that we're going to share with you. Oops, students' names came up. I've got lots of stuff going on, and it's right here. So this folder here, you can see that we've already got a folder set up for the webinar itself, which is information that we are showing to you guys today, and then some of the other things that we're doing. One thing that I wanted my students to know is that we're going to stick to what we know, and we're going to go from there. So one of the things that I do with my resources already is there's some online ones. We've got the great diseases that we do and some other resources from the CDC that they know how to get to. The video lessons, PBIS, sorry, we're not giving out waypoints for this, although my principal would be super excited. The PBS videos are really good. This is just going to be a link to the main ones. This is a copy of all the lessons that I've done flipped for my class, or some of them. Edu Creations is one that I use often, and I'll pull up the cardiovascular system. Now, when I get down here, I am going to mute myself on this video, but Edu Creations allows me to go through and write on my screens as well. I can add pictures in and diagram with them. I don't want to play it all. But as you can see in this picture, I drew in some lungs and a diaphragm to give my students a little bit of perspective. Edu Creations is something that it did cost me a little bit of money when I set it up over the summer, but it's something that because of COVID-19, they are offering free for the participants and for teachers now. So I'm going to get back to Phyllis. Can you get the original slide back up when I stop sharing?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
You want the slide with the schedule on it?
Yes.
Okay.
Karen, about 1 more minute. Okay.
Okay. I think one of the questions was, do I use Google Classroom in addition to LMS? We don't use an LMS platform. We only use Google Classroom. That's just what my students are used to. We do use a few other testing sites. And then I also use the Health Center 21, the ICEV. We use those programs as well, along with the phlebotomy information. So those are things that I use often. And if you have questions about, I'll be more than happy to help you. The Doodle Notes is something that we've got a rubric in there for, but it's a little hard to have the students do that if they don't have a printer to print them out. So they can create their own if you need to. And it looks like Katrina got the Drive link over there for you guys. The Drive folder is already shared on the consortium's Facebook page, and it may be shared on the association page as well. We have a separate folder for them because it's part of the membership, and we're not trying to plug that membership by any means right now. We just want to make sure you guys know where to find these resources that we're putting together. Next, Katrina's going to share with you guys a list of the vendors, and we're getting more and more each day, but she's going to show you where to find that. If I don't see Katrina.
Okay. I think Rhonda, I believe Rhonda was going to do a best practice. Rhonda, will you
Oh, okay.
go next?
Hey everyone, I'm Rhonda. I'm so glad so many people are here. Phyllis, I'll need to share my screen, please. And I've got to go ahead and look at.
You should be able to share now,
Okay.
because I'm not sharing it. It's coming up now.
There you go.
Okay, great. So I'm going to minimize that. All right. I'm here in the same drive that Karen was just in. One of the things I wanted to just, it'll take you a while to just kind of scroll through here and see what you like. We all teach, so there's such a big range of stuff being taught here and so many platforms that really the best practices I kind of wanted to go over. I actually added in a couple of videos. There should be one more that's not showing up. I'll double check it. You know, you hear a lot about the hyperlinks and the hyperdocs, and people are really confused about that. And I put a couple of little how-to videos in here about hyperlinks, how to do them, what they are. I also shared a couple of my primary sites that I like to use, but you know, for today's webinar specifically, best practices is how do you get started with this, because we're all either just getting started or we're still scrambling. And I have this document in that drive under the webinar folder, just so you can kind of see things to do. And I think we're gonna really go with try not to be too hard on yourself and do too much at once. This document's in there. Some of the biggest things I think you can do are just to be very, very clear about your expectations, and don't go into this trying to run your e-learning classes to the same level initially that you're trying to run your classrooms. I mean, that's hard for us to pull back from that, but this is just this crazy situation. And I think just getting organized and letting the kids get into a routine. I don't think many people think about the fact that some of these kids are, you know, not going to be as motivated to do work at home as they are in class. And some of them aren't going to be as available. They're going to be instantaneous babysitters. So, you know, we just need to kind of take a step back and look at the big picture and just kind of get a routine going here in the beginning. Some of us, you know, we're hoping we'll only be out for a couple of weeks. We don't know the truth. And so we just have to get things going. Consistency, daily agendas, give them objectives and essential questions. Some of the things that people tend to not do is to, I keep having my thing show up here and I'm trying to go just back to my drive. There it is. I'm just going to kind of put this up here to show you what my kids' daily agendas look like. I do realize that several people are not on Google Classroom, and I've noticed that right off the bat, and I've wondered about it. So we'll address that here in just a little bit. This was very simple for yesterday. I put places for them to turn their work in. I put a due date. I put a point value. Literally this entire lesson, just to kind of get them in the groove, was maybe a 45-minute to an hour lesson. My classes are 5 days a week, 3 hours a day. So it certainly wasn't a full classroom full of stuff, but it did kind of get them understanding how things were going to work and how they were going to go. So those are going to have some videos in there that'll be show you how-tos. And I hit draw. Okay. So I can stop sharing my screen now. If I can find it. All right.
Do you see it? It should probably be a little thing with an arrow.
So one of the videos that I have specifically in there for Google Documents of any kind, files, folders, anything. There's a couple of things you want to do, and all of that is a step-by-step in one of those videos. If you're sharing documents, you've got to make sure your share settings are open. And I go through that process in the video. It's really quick, and I'm not going to do it here because we have a lot to cover. So you want to make sure your share settings are set so everybody can see them. You also want to make sure they can see them but not edit them. And when you do upload documents into Classroom, if you're putting it in the stream, you don't have the availability to add a copy for every student. If you put it in as an assignment, it's going to open that option up for you. That way, if you don't do it that way, then they're going to do all this typing on the stuff that you put. And when they submit it, it's going to be blank because they don't have editing privileges. They just don't find that out until afterwards. So giving them their own copy and sorry, my thing's going off too. So giving them their own copy and then just making sure that they can access it before everything goes crazy. The other thing is going to be, you're getting inundated with apps and new technology, and you can't feel like you have to jump in there and do all of it at once. There's so much of it. So my suggestion is going to be that we take all of this technology that everyone's recommending and maybe put it in categories or put it in a spreadsheet where we have a little explanation about what it is so you know what you're looking for. Like we have Screencastify, which is a screen recorder, and you can do that to show how things to your kids. You also have Flipgrid and you have Edgy Creations, like Karen mentioned, and those are all phenomenal tools. And they're all having really, they're having free premium memberships, all of them. So maybe we can organize it a little bit. So if you're looking for a screen recorder or a video cast app, that we have all of those there in one section for you. Before you start using any new websites or anything like that, have a couple of students that you can get in touch with quickly to say, hey, let me share this link on your Chromebook. Can you see if it'll open and then see if it's blocked? Because you don't want to invest all this time in creating these awesome lessons and then the kids end up not being able to access them at all. So those are just some of the, I learned from my own mistakes sort of things. One thing that I'm also doing in this week is I'm not doing any major grades this week. And that's a hard pill for me to swallow. But really, it's just survival and breathe in and breathe out and, you know, just kind of get your own routine going. And so you just want to make sure that if you do a major grade, you know, it's going to be hard to micromanage on that level. I saw one of those questions come up earlier, you know, and that's something we're working through. So hopefully, you know, hopefully that's going to be something we can find another platform for. But right now, this week, next week, that's not at the top of my list. I just want them to be able to get content, learn from it, come back from this break with something concrete that they did learn and that they do remember.
1 minute warning for you there, Rhonda.
Sure, no problem. I think that's honestly all I was going to cover on this part. I am going to get with the others, and we're going to come up with a really good questionnaire type Google form of some kind, so that we can address some bigger problems, like, for example, those of you who are not on a Google platform. So my advice to you is, if you're not on a Google platform or don't have a Gmail, that you create a private one just to access this drive and get the tools you need. So that's going to be a start for you. And then, we're working to kind of come up with some ideas on how we can help you guys that are not Google Classroom based, how we can help you transition. But organize it, be clear, don't overdo it, and don't stress yourself out, because you're all going through enough as it is. You're doing a great job. We're really glad everybody's here today.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Rhonda. I think Katrina now, Phyllis, she's interested in you pulling up this slide that has the resources that our National Health Science Consortium members have so graciously shared. So Katrina Haynes, it's your time.
Thanks, Nancy. So welcome everybody. So I know everybody's feeling stressed, some more than others. And we just also want to give a shout out to the folks who are maybe don't feel so technology savvy and are kind of being thrust into it. So just know that we know everybody's not going to want to do the same amount of intervention, and that's why we're providing lots of different things for you to look at, so you can pick and choose. This is a no judgment zone. And so this slide is of the NCHSE professional partners. We just put it all in one place. So this will be a good place to screenshot or take a picture with your phone. So these are all, except for anatomy and clay, these are all curriculums that are already set up. If you don't feel comfortable setting up, lessons and that kind of thing, I think almost everybody has an electronic learning management system, like, Schoology, Canvas, Moodle, whatever, Google Classroom. So most of you already have somewhere where you could post, some PDFs or some, whatever you want students to do. But if you need them, these are all our professional partners who've agreed to either extend a free trial to the end of the year, like AES or Cengage. If you have Cengage textbooks, they already have MindTap, and maybe not everybody has the MindTap that you're using, but that's an online resource that's free to you. Just need to reach out to your Cengage rep. Goodhart Wilcox also has CTE classes that are free right now. ICEB, they're also willing to extend a free trial. Let's see, Pearson CTE, if you already have Pearson textbooks, they are willing to give you the e-textbook for free. Today's class also is offering an extension of a free trial CTE curriculum, and anatomy and clay. I think those are good lessons that are universal to all areas. Like I said, just tons of stuff. And if you're on social media for very long, you're already seeing the regular teacher apps that are being, where a lot of services are extending their premium services for free to teachers until the end of the year, like Edpuzzle, lots of different ones. So we really didn't want to take time to list all those out, because you can Google search those or Facebook those, but we wanted you to know about the ones that are health science specific right here, right now. And all these companies have good reps that you could call them, and they would help you walking through setting up something like that online. But if you're comfortable putting out your own stuff, then we wanted to make sure that we shared this drive with you. And Phyllis, if you'll pull up, the slide that has the bit.ly. Now, I obviously could not type with my two big thumbs correctly into the chat box for the shortened link, but I did paste the other link that will take you to the Google Drive. That's what Karen and Rhonda have both been sharing out to you. And that has just folder after folder of stuff. And I got a message from a sports medicine teacher that she has more sports medicine stuff that will get added in there. Now, when you go to that folder, and that link is case sensitive, by the way, but like I said, if you look in the chat box, you can click on the link that I copied and pasted directly. That one definitely works. And it's going to take you straight into that folder. The access is set up right now, so you don't need a Google Drive or email or whatever to get into it. Anybody with a link can go straight into it, and you can view and you can download, but right now we have it limited, so not everybody can add in there. If you'd like to add in there, then Nancy's going to email some instructions for that later. So I just want to make sure you know that the lessons in this Google folder are straight from other teachers to you. That's why I jokingly said teachers give to teachers instead of teachers pay teachers, because these are all lesson plans that somebody's using right now, and it's absolutely free. And it came out of a folder that we already have set up for new teachers in our state. And we just decided to keep dumping stuff in that we found on social media and through networking. So we just really want to share that out in this time of need. So, and just let you know that we're all thinking about you. And I'm not really sure what else to say, except I would not be surprised if this doesn't go through the end of the school year, and that's not popular, but there you go. Is there anything else I can add?
I can add a couple of things. This is Nancy again, and as Katrina said, we are just grateful to our partners who have been so generous to share their resources with you, and just such goodwill on their part. And we're still getting some additional resources as they. Oh, Nancy here, we'll be willing to do this for the teachers. And just today, if you happen to use Career Safe Online, that's a company out of Texas, and they do a health care safety certification, OSHA training for our students. And they were willing, if you were a customer already, they have a employability skills unit or content that they're willing to share. So I pushed that out on the consortium website page, so you could go there and find that. And then just this morning, we heard from the University of Nebraska School of Medicine, and they had been working on science-based and really a nice crossover to health science curriculum as well for grades 6 through 12. And they weren't going to launch that until August, but in light of this situation, they are sharing that with all of you. And so that's on our Facebook page as well from the University of Nebraska. We really appreciate that. And then just this afternoon, right before we went on, I heard from Hofstra University, and they have some curriculum that they would like to create a flyer for us to push out to you. So it's just amazing how we can all come together, and I assume that this will continue, this goodwill. And so as we get these types of opportunities for you, we don't want you to feel like you're drinking from a fire hose. And just like Katrina said, you just pick and choose what works for you. And when you feel like I have overloaded you too much, just, raise your hand and we'll stop sending. But we just want you to have everything that you need to make this as less stressful as possible. I did, when we were talking about setting up this opportunity for you all, we talked about, we get confused sometimes that what we teach really is an elective. And while for us as teachers and health professionals, and it's just so important to us, we want to make sure that we get everything to them that they need. And we have to remember that this is an elective, and they also have graduation requirements. And I'm often reminded it's not the most important course they take, although I like to think it is. So I think I jumped in maybe on Rhonda. Rhonda, were you perhaps going to do a little bit more on some web-based applications? Rhonda.
Okay, sorry, I was muted. Yeah, I was actually busy pulling up some of those sites.
Okay.
So I'm gonna see if we can screen share again real quick. I'm gonna minimize out. I'm gonna show a couple of things.
You should be able to do it now.
Sorry.
And while she's doing that, I saw someone in the chat box said that their students believe that their health science classes are their most important, and I love that, you know, because it's such a joy to teach career and technology courses, because our students, for the most part, we hope, choose to be there as opposed to, you know, having to take our class. So I always would say to them at the beginning of the year, I don't expect any discipline problems because you all chose to be here. And then if somebody raised their hand and said, guidance stuck me in here, then we just walked them down there and found them another place. But here you go. Looks like you're ready, Rhonda.
I am. So I'm going to start off, and please understand, especially if some of our vendors are around or anything like that, I could be on this webinar for hours showing you all of the great stuff that's out there, because there's a lot of great stuff. And we intend on trying to do some follow-up things or add in videos to show you some of the great sites and how to navigate them a little bit. I know Karen and Katrina both they use Flipgrid a lot, and I haven't used it in a long time. They've come out with new features, and I've just kind of become reacquainted with it, and I can't navigate it at all right now, but it's going to be something the two of them can really help you with. Just a few of the things that are easy go-to for you that have ready-made stuff built into them is going to be, one of them is going to be Edpuzzle. And so you can create your class. You can create videos, you can search for them. I'm going to my content just so you can see a few things that I've got. Lots of different videos in here, and when you go into edit them, you can actually put questions in there that the students are prompted to answer, and they can't fast forward through the video. And you give point values, it gives them a grade, and it gives you your grade book. Now I can't go into that because I'll show students' names, but the content they have is pretty much, you can search for anything. And they're gonna have, oh, that's in my content. I need to go home, sorry. You can go to anything, cardiovascular, and they have vital signs, they have anything. So if I search this, it's going to bring up just tons and tons of stuff. If I were to scroll down, it would go for pages. So it gives you things that have already been created that you can just copy to your classrooms and use. And you have to import your, you have to put in your roster, or you have to invite them by email and stuff. So that's one of the things I like to use a lot of. TED Ed is a phenomenal, I'm going to minimize this here to log in. A phenomenal thing if you haven't seen it already. A lot of my stuff's hidden. I'm having trouble seeing it from the screen. So, so you can go in here, and they have ready-made lessons for you with little videos. The one thing you got to be careful of is if some of these will be linked sometimes to YouTube, and so if it's going to block them, you have to download the video, then re-upload the video. But they have plenty that's already here. You can assign these, and this is one of them that I did, and they'll watch the video, and then you can click think, and there's some questions they have to answer, and it will give you updates. And again, I can't show you that part because it'll have my students in there, but ready-made stuff. Try not to create so much by yourself. That's the ticket. This EduCreations is something that I believe Karen talked about earlier. You can just write all over the place, and my stylist wasn't too happy that day, so my writing's pretty crazy, but they can watch the videos and answer stuff. And Screencastify is literally, it's a Google extension. There's a lot of screen mirroring things that you can do, and you can kind of use them as how-to videos. All the videos that you see in our drive that I told you that I posted, the how-to videos are all done with Screencastify. And the last one I want to show you is just one that,
Okay, about 1 minute, Rhonda.
if you've never used Health Center 21, this is what it looks like. And this is something I actually use for HOSA prep. You can create your modules. They're aligned with national standards. You can add in, take away, do whatever you want to do. They have worksheets, PowerPoints, lesson plans, everything. And you can go through here if you were to want to add assignments. You can go through any of these, and literally there's probably well over 100 different things that you can do. And again, they're all aligned with our standards. It takes so much of the work off of you. And again, there's a lot of wonderful vendors, wonderful sites out. This is just my go-to because I had it in place. So I think that's it for me. And again, we'll just keep putting stuff together for you. And we'll, gather information from you too, because we definitely want to know what you're doing that we may not have even heard about yet. So thanks a lot for that.
Okay, thank you so much. I noticed that someone was asking what that was that you were just showing, Rhonda, in the chat room, and Karen was nice to respond. It's Health Center 21 by AES, and they are offering that complimentary through the end of the year. You do not have to be a customer of theirs currently, and they are also offering extra support in the evenings, so they'll have tech support for anyone that may need to call in and ask them questions about using the resource. We are looking for, I appreciate one of the teachers on here, we are looking for any of you that have a gift and really enjoy online learning or have some resources, would be willing to mentor. I see here someone says, I'm a first-year teacher and this is a roller coaster. It absolutely is. And then this is a big roller coaster now for all of us, but there's never a year as bad as that first year of teaching, but this one might be right up there at the top for everybody. So if you're interested in being a mentor, you can put your email there in the chat room, or you can email me. You should have my email in your confirmation for joining this webinar meeting. This webinar will be recorded. It will be posted, as I said, at healthscienceconsortium.org at the events, and then the drop down for webinars. We'll also update the slides because after these were created, we got those additional offers from that we mentioned that were not on that slide. So we'll post the slides. I know we asked you to take a screenshot or a photo of it, but we'll post them in the area with the webinars as well. So it might be Thursday or Friday before they get there, hopefully sooner, but that will be there. There was, go ahead.
If I can just tell them all about the health center thing. That is on the slide she had with all of our vendors under AES education.
Okay.
So I did see it on the first one, and I know Ann Kuser is in charge of all that, but if you're interested in that, it is on that link that she had all of our vendors that was there at the beginning.
Right. And I noticed there was a question about clinicals for certified nursing assistants, and we know that those questions are probably still debatable, and we know that there also is some variance from state to state. And so we heard on our last call that we had with state health science leaders about YouTube videos, how to check students off. And I just think that that's just all up for debate, and probably something that you have to check with your whoever is in charge of nurse aid certification in your state, and I'm sure that they are outlining ways for this to be handled. But we do have Robbie Rousey on the call. This came up on our last call about assessments. You'll know that you are probably aware that the consortium partners with Precision Exams for the administration of the National Health Science Assessment. And we have over 20,000 students. Last year, I think around 21,000 students took that end of program assessment. And then we have the end of course assessments that are popular for medical terminology, introduction to health science, and some of the career specific like dental assisting. But I'm going to let Robbie tell a little bit about what they've come out with a statement. And so I thought it might be good to hear directly from them the message. Robbie, you with us?
I am. Can you hear me?
We can.
Perfect. So I'm just going to send a message right now in the chat so you can have a link to this article. We also recently just sent out an email at 1:40 Mountain Time, so that would have been about 3:40 Eastern Time, and others, you can do the math. And yes, activities in a pinch, people, hello, welcome. This is my precision exams hat, though. So I just want to talk really quickly about the National Health Science Assessment as the provider for the assessment. We just need to keep in mind that this is a nationally recognized assessment. And so currently there's a lot of states that may use this assessment as an end of course or end of year pathway type of exam. We are getting a lot of different feelings and emotions about, can I use this to test my students or can I not? I want to do this off-site, so on and so forth. Unfortunately, because it is a proctored exam that is used for high stakes testing, there's a lot of different funding associated with these exams, like Perkins grants and whatnot. So unfortunately, these are not going to be able to be provided in a virtual environment. As you may know, those of you that do offer the NHSA at your schools and states, that you are required to have a separate proctor for that assessment. And so therefore, even in this virtual environment that we're currently experiencing, those will not be available. Now, again, this article does have a lot more information about, will exams be available when I return to school? Yes, we want to make sure that you have every opportunity to get this to your students, whether it be this year or next year. If there's contracts already in place, we'll work with your regional directors to get those extended and what needs to happen. Students have already earned a certificate, or if they've already have some data there, you can go and print those certificates or have them contact us, and we'd be happy to get their certificates for them. How can my students prepare for the exams in the future? Again, coming to our website, going to the National Consortium's website, reviewing the standards, reviewing the information that has been published there for you all. And then also with the consortium, we also work with a lot of different publishers and providers. And so please feel free to visit those ones and all the different resources that have been shared today, and also that Nancy is sharing out. We understand this is a very difficult time for everyone. We have more information that we'll be sharing out this coming Friday in regards to a new platform that some of you are familiar with that is called UScience, one of our mergers that we just recently had, and it's a great aptitude assessment tool to do some brain games and help students identify where their interests, where their aptitudes lie. And a lot of you in Georgia may use this already. So a lot of information to come, and I'll turn it back over to Nancy. Thank you.
Okay, someone, I'm trying to just answer a few questions. I think we have about 5 minutes, and there was a question about where all these links would be posted. And so it's healthscienceconsortium.org and then webinars. And so currently there now, we have, I believe, 8 webinars that are archived there for your pleasure. And we sometimes hear from teachers to say, do you have any suggestions for professional development? And so we direct them there. And we've heard from several teachers that their administrators said, we will approve your participation in these webinars if you can get us a certificate, or some of them have been able to use their registration confirmation email as documentation that they were a part of the. We aren't going to send certificates out to everyone because we can't tell who all is on the. Some of you dial in and we don't see your names and that type of thing, and it's kind of a moving target. But if you need a certificate to document your attendance, you can reach out to me, and you should have my email address in your confirmation email. There is a webinar next week, so if you're bored, if you're still sitting at home and you're bored, if that would be of interest to you, we hope it will. It's the importance of industry recognized certifications for our students, and American Medical Technologists are presenting that. And that will be a webinar Wednesday for next week at 4 o'clock. You should have already received information about how to register, but I'll send that out again. Then the next week on April 1st, to highlight Donate Life Month, we'll have a webinar on organ and tissue donation. And I think that would be one that would be great when we get that recording up, that you could have your students watch that, you know, be 45 minutes with some question and answer. And then then you could kind of create a lesson around that. And that wouldn't be technology for you, except for sending them the link and then maybe creating some questions to go along with that. Because we know when they all go to the DMV to apply for their driver's license, they get the question about organ donation. And so some of that might be very, very relevant for them. We have another webinar scheduled in April on the 22nd. When we planned that, we spaced that out, kind of trying to coordinate around spring breaks and perhaps Easter holiday. And so there's 3 weeks between those two. And Karen Edwards, one of our presenters today, will be doing that webinar on the use of QR codes in your classroom and how you can use those for classroom management. So we may need to also do some more webinars depending on, you know, what we hear from you, what your needs are. And so we aren't opposed to creating a series of webinars, because we know that lots of support is needed. We appreciate all of you that have given your email address here, that you'd be willing to serve as a mentor. So we'll kind of compile that and perhaps hook you up with people as we hear from them. And I think, let's see, Katrina, did you have something else to say? Or did, you know, I'm kind of multitasking here. We talked about certification, we talked about mentoring. Katrina, Karen, and Rhonda, my nice presenters, anything else you want to say before we let these folks get back to real life?
I just wanted to mention the Facebook group. Sorry. If you search in Facebook groups, health science educators, you'll find the NCHSE teacher group, and it does not cost anything to join the Facebook group, and it's closed, so nobody's going to see all your business.
And before we leave the Facebook, I remember a question a few back on the in the chat group, the group chat, where someone said they didn't do Facebook and they wanted all the links from the partners and also the teacher drive. And so you can rest assured that those 2 slides will be posted along with the recording of this webinar. So you'll be able to access that. And we'll try to keep that updated too, because like I said, we push out updates through Facebook and our social media outlets, but we'll also try to do it on our website. Hopefully everybody goes to healthscienceconsortium.org. Rhonda, did you have something?
Yeah, I actually just threw it out in the chat room. Please know that we know this was like a record of people coming into these webinars. We are all 3-4 gonna go through the transcript from the chat room and try to address a lot of the questions that we didn't get to, or maybe just slipped by us. You guys, we'll try to put together either some videos on how to use some of these apps, or we'll try to figure out maybe even individual webinars we can pull together and do. You guys show yourself some mercy and some grace, and don't overdo it. I mean, the day's gonna end and we'll have a new day tomorrow, and y'all just try to survive as best you can and lean on each other. Everybody's been so great. I think our community has outdone any other subject community that I've even seen. So I'm grateful for everything everyone's done.
I think,
Karen, did you have anything?
yeah, I think the big thing to remember too is that as we are navigating this unusual kind of circumstance and pandemic, our students are also experiencing this for the first time. And their home life, you know, I'm at home with my 2 daughters who luckily like school and like, you know, being told to go outside and play, and they have responsibilities of a child, but our students may not have that, and just touch base with them. I'm not saying, email all 147 students a personal postcard from your house, because we don't want them to have your house address, but, send them a quick email or set up a Zoom meeting. I know that you obviously know how to do that because you're on this meeting, and just kind of touch base with them, not just about their classwork and questions, but just to see how they're doing. Is there anybody that they know personally affected? How is this affecting them with work, or do they have to babysit? That kind of stuff. And that's going to go a long way in building that relationship and keeping that community together for your school.
Okay. Thank you, Karen. Phyllis, did you have anything else to share?
No, I just want to second what someone said, that it's really neat to see our whole group of health science teachers pulling together and supporting each other. We're from all over the country, and I think the way that everybody's sharing and caring about each other, being willing to be a mentor, is pretty awesome. Hopefully things are going to go in a good way, and I think we'll still benefit from this. We'll look back on this and see that, pulling us all together is a good thing. So thanks to everybody. Thanks to all our wonderful presenters. I wish I had known y'all when I was teaching. So y'all are awesome. Thank you. And thanks, Nancy, for helping do all this with all of us.
You're welcome.
Thanks,
Have a
everybody.
great rest of your Wednesday, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.